to another video with him, Simon from Savage Reads. Is that alright? No, that's what I say.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Simon of Savage Reads, and today I'm joined by Lauren of Lauren and the Books, or Dame Lauren of the Books, as Tom Reesing's recently called you. Dame Lauren of the Books.
What do you have to do to be a dame in this day and age?
I don't know.
I am one now. I don't have to do anything.
I think the closest I could get to being a dame is a panto dame.
Panto dame.
That's the closest it could be. So, Lauren has been here for the night on her way off to her holidays, a pretty little mini holiday before the holiday.
A brief but satisfying visit.
Ooh.
It's been
Sounds like
very
a trip to
lovely.
the toilet.
The lovely dinner last night. Oh, I've had some terrible toilets. I've had a lovely dinner last night.
Yeah.
Watched Love Island. Lovely breakfast this morning. We sat in the garden, haven't we?
Playing with the cats.
Playing with it. Oh, David's been following those cats around.
Talking about books.
Talking about books.
Chatting
having
away.
Books, having books. I always,
Lauren's...
whenever I leave Simon's, I always bring my car because I always leave Simon. Although 5 books, that is
I've
a
just given you
small
another 3.
amount. Oh yeah, 8 books.
8. Sorry about that.
7. No, it was because you only gave me 2 because I already had the Christmas poems.
Oh, yeah, you did.
That is the small. Once, the first time I came here, I did a book haul and I had something like 36 books. 36.
Imagine that. Thing is, though, other people come down, they steal them first. My mum's rifling through it all the time.
I'm not happy about that.
No. Anyway, we're going to do a Reading Horizons video, which will probably end up just being a chat in general about all sorts. But that's where we talk about the books that we have read, are reading, and are going to read next. So, Lauren, ladies first.
Oh.
What have you just read?
No, I'm not going to go for ladies first. You go first, Simon.
Why not?
Because I'm an equal feminist.
Well, I'm an equal gay.
All right, I will go first. Guest first. I have recently finished Swimming Home by Deborah Levy. This was my first ever Deborah Levy I read, and I really, really loved it. I've got the idea to read this, the recommendation to read this from Simon's Summer Read, so thank you, Simon.
Bless you.
This is very, very enjoyable, and it is the tale of a family who have gone on holiday near Nice, and when they arrive at the holiday property, there is a girl swimming. Well, it's sort of like said quite ominously in the blurb that there's a body in the water. Well, this body is swimming in the pool naked with lovely green fingernails, and she's a bit of an eccentric girl. She's a sort of self-proclaimed botanist, and you find out quite quickly that she's there as one of the chaps who was on holiday is a poet, and she wants him to read her poems, and yeah, you're just very much entangled in their lives for the few days that they're there, but you really feel like you're there with them, and it's very hot.
It's
and
very sultry.
very, very sultry.
Quite
and
sensual.
I actually said to you when I was reading it, there was parts of it where I did feel like it was like Rebecca or something, like how into it I felt and how in there with them I felt. I really, really, really
it's quite
loved
quirky
it.
as well.
Yeah, it is. I gave it 5 stars. I was so delighted, and also and I feel like this is what I always say. Any short book that's less than like 200 pages, I would say, oh, it really packs a punch, it really fits a load in. But doesn't it? For a short book, doesn't it fit loads in?
Fit a load in.
Doesn't it?
Fit a load in that. No, it doesn't. And the thing is, I was looking at my stats this year. I don't know, people don't always love book stats, but I'm reading predominantly books at about 200 to 260 pages.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm beginning to realise is the thing that I like. 'Cause I feel like I'm constantly being packed a punch.
About when you've got like a big book to look at, I think no matter how much you're enjoying that book, you're like, oh, there's still so much of that.
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a bit when I talk about the book that I'm reading.
So I will save that. But yeah, for this, we're going to read this. We're reading this for my online book club with my friends, and I'm looking forward to having a good chat about it with them because I just really, really loved it. I'm looking forward to reading more Deborah Levy. You've actually one of those very books that I mentioned.
Living Deborah Levy.
Yeah, I know. I thought she died. That's Andrea Levy.
We were talking about it yesterday because I said, I'm going to read a new one, and I was like, I thought that she died, but actually that it might be a posthumous book. Is that how you say it? Posthumous?
Posthumous.
Post-hummus.
After hummus.
After a nice hummus.
After a nice hummus. But really, really liked it. Really would recommend it. Really enjoyed it. If you're looking for like a great summer read, I think this is perfect. Imagine reading that around the pool where it's all happening in a pool.
Well, as long as somebody's not naked in your pool or you don't know, because it can all go a bit wrong.
There's quite a big ending to it as well, isn't there? Which I really liked. I just think
no spoilers.
I just think you'll all enjoy it.
And the book that I read last night, I actually listened to, is Lucy Mangan's Bookworm, which is a memoir of childhood reading. I really, really enjoyed this.
I loved it. I read it last year. I read the hard cover book of it, and it is just
It is lovely. I will say, like, occasionally I felt a little bit... I've never read The Phantom Tollbooth or The Purple Tollbooth.
No, so what I will say, I'm 30... How old am I? 33? I'll be 33 this year. And I think Lucy's just a little bit older than me. So there was a few
I think she's a bit older than me as well, because I'm 37.
Right, okay.
And she started reading, and I thought, oh, she's a bit ahead of me. Although, what amazed me was, it reminded me of some books I'd forgotten even existed.
Yeah.
Like Percival P. I had completely forgotten about The Adventures of Percival P. But she talks about Enid Blyton, loved all of that. She talks about Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
She talks about Mildred Hubble, which obviously my Mildred is named after. She talks about... it's this thing where you go along with it and you are totally... Oh, and she talks about Mog.
Yeah, it's a real nostalgia fest. It really is like one of the most cosiest, comforting books, and I imagine to listen to it's an absolute dream.
Well, also
Does she narrate it?
and she's really dry, and there's bits where she's sort of taking the piss out of herself, or she keeps referring to her sister. It's because her sister's like into mechanics or something. She's like, oh, my non-region sister, and there's just this lovely. As you're going along with it, and she's telling you these stories about her loving stories, and the relationship between her and her dad was clearly really, really, really strong. But she's very wry, and it's very kind of full of a lovely self-deprecating wit, but without it being like falsely self-deprecating. It's just, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think there was just a few chapters where I was a bit like, oh, because she really, and I keep going on about the Phantom Tollbooth, but it's because that one stuck with me, because there's like a whole chapter when I was listening to it, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And with the other ones where I haven't read them, because it showed me that I've not read Secret Garden, I've not read Little Women, I've not read Anne of Green Gables, although she doesn't like Anne of Green Gables very much. But it has shown that there's a big hole in my reading.
Oh, yes, to say, I really like the front cover as well, because it's got like every little thing on here is
got
linked
like a little
to
spider web, and you've got a witch's hat,
all linked
and
to the
Charlotte's
books that she
Web.
loved.
Oh god, Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, I was
that
afraid
story.
of the dark as well. Oh, don't.
It's lovely. This is the proof edition. But yeah, I really, 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 really enjoyed it.
It's really lovely. I would revisit that as an audio type thing. I've been doing that this year. I've been revisiting my faves from last year on audio this year, and it's just a lovely way to...
Well, also, I really think if you get a memoir that's read by the person who wrote it, it's really important.
Audio, non-fiction and memoirs are my fave audio.
Yeah.
I really, really like
them. And I think it's because you get that extra... There's the tone and the inference a lot more when somebody's reading their own memoirs. Anyway, what are you currently reading?
Well, actually, and I'll mention the audio book that I'm reading. So David and I, as I said, we're on our way to holiday, and David and I have very different tastes in audiobooks. As David will go as far as to say he doesn't like audiobooks, but he really, really likes podcasts and things. So I was trying to think of an audiobook that we could listen to on the way to holiday that he would enjoy. And the way I arrived at it was that I looked. David likes quite a lot of comedy, listens to quite a lot of comedy podcasts and things like that. And there is a sort of comedy, I wouldn't call them a comedy duo, but Bob Mortimer and Paul Whitehouse, who are two British comedians in their 50s, they do a programme on, I think it's on BBC Two, called Gone Fishing, and there's an audio, and David loves that. It's just two blokes fishing, just chatting about life, and I was like, I knew there was a book of it coming out, and then I heard them on the Adam Buxton podcast. God, I'm talking a long way of how I got there. Adam Buxton podcast, and they said that they were doing this audiobook, and it's a different audiobook, because although the book and the audiobook have the same content, they're not reading from the audiobook. They're just like, chatting. Well, here we are at this chapter about friendship, let's talk about how we met. So it's not the same stuff that's in the book.
That's
and
an interesting way of doing it.
It flows really nicely. It flows like a podcast. There are bits where he does read it out. There's a bit where Bob Mortimer talks about, he is less experienced in fishing than Paul Whitehouse, and he talks about how he leaves Paul to it sometimes and goes down and like talking about the River Test and how beautiful it is, and just it's really, really so lovely to hear people talk about friendship and such a passion for a hobby.
Yeah.
And also it's a lot to do with recovery. They both found out they had quite serious heart conditions in their 50s and took up fishing as a result of it. And it's just, I've just been so surprised at how much we're enjoying it. We've got about 2 hours left, so I don't think we'll finish it today on the rest of our journey, but we'll definitely finish it this week. But I've been absolutely loving it. I felt quite moved by it yesterday when when Bob Mortimer was talking about like his initial going fishing and stuff. It was just, it was lovely. So that's one that I'm reading at the moment.
Well, I'm going to go to my audiobook at the moment.
Oh, yeah, do that. Yeah.
Book. So on audio at the moment, I'm listening to Mythos by Stephen Fry, which is him telling basically all of the myths and how Olympus was created and how all the gods were created and stuff. And I love his wit is brilliant. Like he starts talking about how everything comes from chaos. And he's like, so he goes through all these things and he ends up with, even your biscuits. And it's just little bits like that. And he tells the reader how, or listener, what lovely legs you've got at one point. It's all just done very endearingly, but also he really makes it very relatable. So there's not a lot of like, when he's in the different characters, he does do the voices. He does the female gods, well, the goddesses really hilariously because it's a bit Dame, like Panto Dame, speaking of that. But it's really reminded me of all the different stories that I'd forgotten because my mum's a classicist, so she's told me them all when I was a kid. So there's a lovely nostalgic feeling to this. And also, I think if you're wanting to go into myth retellings, because they're very popular at the moment, then this is quite a good way of going in first.
It sort of touches upon them all rather than does
it goes
this big deep
in
dive
kind
on
of chronological order.
Oh,
I will say the beginning there was a bit where he lists every single god that's born at a certain point, and you're a bit like, whoa.
Oh, right, okay.
But some of them come back. So, but you sort of get to learn the stories in chronological order. So I've just got to the point where they've decided to create man.
Yeah.
And then Zeus doesn't want man to have fire because he doesn't want them to be as powerful as gods. However, and he said Patronus. That's not right. Prometheus.
Oh, Prometheus.
Prometheus does give them fire. And so then he creates woman, which is really interesting because he does it in a really, like, he creates women as a bad thing. And I was a bit like, oh, here we go. It's all that dreadful old misogyny coming out. But it's really, really fascinatingly done. And I bought Heroes the other day because I'm going to listen to that probably at some point this year. Because having Stephen Fry read it as well is just a treat.
Yeah, in a similar way to like the audiobook I'm listening to, and it's just nice to hear people talk about their hobby. Like mythology is Stephen Fry's hobby, so he's got a real passion for it, and it's just nice to hear him read his own thing as well.
And he is doing a tour where you can go and see him do the show 3 nights on a row. Oh, really? And I really, really want to see it. It's so bloody expensive.
Oh, I bet.
And also I wanted to take my mum, but it's school nights, and she's working.
I would like to listen to. The only thing I will say is that Stephen Fry's voice is very much tied up in the Harry Potter world for me. He narrates all the Harry Potter books. So
I've seen Jean really loves him doing the Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes.
But my problem is I've got Sherlock Holmes from the BBC from the 90s, and that's my Sherlock in my ears.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be listening to it and thinking I was in like a history of magic lesson or something. Oh, maybe I'd like it then.
What's Aphrodite doing in the Slytherin common room?
I would like it. Yeah, maybe I do think that is one I'd like. I bought it for my dad for Christmas.
It's value for money. It's 15 hours.
Oh, well, I mean, that is good, yeah.
Absolute
That is good, isn't it? So, actual book I'm reading at the moment, I picked this up last night, very early days in it, and if you've watched I'm putting up a currently reading vlog on my channel. I'm basically going to say the same thing. On it. I'm going to say basically the same thing I said there. But I'm very early days in this. Page 30. This is Happy Fat, taking up space in a world that wants to shrink you. I got this out from the library, and I was drawn to it because look at this lovely happy smiley face on Sophie's tummy there. And yeah, it's a celebration of your body basically, and I feel like I'm going to really enjoy it. It's much more like there's information in there about accepting a body positivity. Already in the introduction, it's sort of gone into how body positivity is now becoming a thing, which is sort of like you can be body positive, but you've got to think that you are still trying to lose weight, and like you can be body positive, but only up to a size 16. Like that's touched on very early doors. Like if you want to be body positive, just don't matter what your body is.
Well, she's good friends with Scotty, and I know her and Scotty have had a conversation, I think, on her podcast about body positivity, because Scotty's he's got a lot of thoughts on it. Like, he doesn't think that just shoving a bath bomb from Lush into your bath means it makes you a body positivity person. Yeah. And actually some brands, not necessarily Lush, but some brands are cashing in on body positivity.
Absolutely, I can absolutely see that. But I didn't know, I knew nothing of Sophie. And when I put this on my Instagram when I first got it out from the library, so many people contacted me and said, oh, I love Sophie and I love her podcast, I love her stand-up, and I love her Instagram feed. So I've sort of discovered someone else because of the library. I just picked it up because I love the front cover so much. So
libraries are lovely.
Yeah, they are. They really are. So I've got a lot more. I'm only on page 30, as you can see. I've read this much. I've got this much to go. But yeah, at the moment, really, really enjoying it.
Well, I'm currently reading, and actually, initially I had a copy of this from the library,
but they don't have it from the library.
Look at that tiny writing.
Oh, it's tiny. I haven't got my glasses on.
So, this is As Meat Loves Salt, and I originally heard about this years ago from somebody who's working on Manchester Literary Festival. He said to me, oh, this is Book Meat Loves Salt, you really, really love it. And I was like, yeah, get lots of recommendations, and sort of parked it. Then I saw it in the library, and me and Ollie Bliss were going to do it because it's about the main character is bisexual, and we were going to do it for part of our queer quarterlies, which we've sort of failed at doing the last one. We're very sorry. And then my mum mentioned it in a video that I'll link down below recently, and talked about how it contained quite a lot of gay sex and had psychopath in it. And I was like, maybe I do need to read
ticking both my boxes.
So I'm reading this at the moment as a buddy read with Tom Reads Things, and I'm only 135 pages in. It doesn't look as big as it is.
When you said it's really big, it doesn't look. Yeah, I know.
It's teeny tiny little writing, And I'm really loving it when I read it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I'm reading it, sometimes I'm thinking, how many books could I be reading instead of this one?
Let's have a little, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's about a man who basically has done something very, very bad, and on his wedding day, he has to escape with his wife and his brother.
It's on the last page.
Oh, it goes
as well.
right to the very end.
Yeah, it's not even
right
like
to the
a
end.
little bit there.
And then he escapes, and it takes place in the Civil War. He's now become part of the army. Now, I have to say, as soon as he went into the army, I was a bit like, oh, here we go. But then a slight frisson with another soldier's begun, and also his past is coming up to catch him. And he's clearly quite a dark, tormented soul. But I do quite fancy him.
Well, that's always good. That's
I
what you're
do.
reading.
I haven't got to any of the gay section.
Have you read anything by her before?
No, I've heard of her before because she was up for the Women's Prize for a book called The Wilding, which is a much shorter historical novel.
When?
A good few years ago, yeah. I think it was longlisted, it might not have been shortlisted. Anyway, but I've heard of it before and I definitely want to read more. I think my mum's reading The Wilding at the moment, actually. So that's what I'm currently reading. And it is a treat, and it is one of those books that it does remind me that when you get a big book that you are lost in, you do relish being inside it. But also sometimes I'm like, how much more have I got to go? Because like in a week normally, I wouldn't read one book. I'd read... Because what happened with you with Jane Eyre?
I read Jane Eyre in June. I did a whole month where I called it June Eyre, guys. I made that up myself out my own brain. I read Jane Eyre and then books associated with Jane Eyre. And Jane Eyre took me 16 days to read, which is unheard of. I read 2 or 3 books a week. So to have one book on the go, and I was very sure that I was going to just stick to the one book. I didn't want to start any of the other adaptations before I'd read it, so that they would feed into that rather than the other way round. But afterwards, I felt such a sense of wonderfulness. Like it would just been me and this book for over 2 weeks. Which sounds, but when I was talking about it at work, and people were like, "What, you're moaning because it took you 2 weeks to read one book?"
Yeah, I know. And that's what people be like. Because I was thinking the other day, I've realised that if a book takes me longer than a week, I start to get frustrated with myself, not the book. It's about like, well, why am I not reading more? And I think I've got into a habit of I need to be kind of maybe it's because I do read so many sort of shorter books.
Yeah.
But I am really, really enjoying it once I'm in it, and and it's nice to do a book like this as a buddy read because you do need sort of that help to keep you going, because Tom had actually DNF'd it for now before I went, I want to read that.
Yeah.
So now I am.
Good. Sorry about this yawn. It's not a reflection on
Flipping it. She comes on my channel, bored, silly. Oh, sorry, Lauren. Let's talk about your books.
I saw it coming. I was like, oh no, I'm going to yawn. And literally, as you turned around, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Right, the next book I've got to read, and I'm going to start this tonight. I've got.
Oh, sorry, I might pour to a coma now.
I've got big plans for this book. This is Orange Horses by Maeve Kelly. It is a series of Irish short stories, I believe, about women from Tramp Press, who are an Irish press, Irish independent press. Now, I found out about this book. Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing. She's got a channel and she did a video where she linked books to booktubers. And she knows I enjoy books written by women, and she knows I enjoy books about women, and she knows I enjoy books set in Ireland. And she recommended me this. And I really struggled to get a bloody copy of it. I managed to get a second-hand copy.
The cover looks like the crumpets we had this morning.
It does! I really like this back brightness. So,
nice.
it is short stories. And what I thought I would do, the first one's called Amnesty. What I thought I would do is every night when I'm on holiday is I'm really trying not to be, I'm very conscious of when I'm in bed, the last thing I look at is my phone. I'm literally like on my phone before I go to bed, and then I turn the light off and I'm on the phone, and then I put it down. And last night here, I put my phone on the other side, I put my phone on the fireplace and read the first chapter of this, and just went to bed afterwards. And I really feel like that is linked to a good night's sleep, because I know what I'm like on my phone. And also if I wake up in the night, I look at my phone and then I'm like, oh, I'll just have a look at this one, and then I can't get back to sleep and stuff. And it's just, the light is just so bad.
Well, I have it in the morning. Chris wakes up and he's straight on his phone and wakes me up.
So I thought I'm going to do this week where I'm going to put my phone on the other side of the room, read a short story and go to bed. So that's my plans. I don't know much about these short stories apart from they're about women and they're all set in Ireland.
Quite nice to go into book quite blind.
And I quite like a sort of a plan with a short story as well, like reading one before I go to bed at night. That really appeals to me. That makes me feel excited. So that's the plan for this week with these. So I'll have to see how I get on with that.
And also, I think you can multi-read when you've got a short story collection.
Oh, I absolutely do. So I quite often have a short story collection, a non-fiction, and a fiction going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at doing that. Much better. Yeah. And the book I'm going to read next, and I really, really ummed and ahed because I thought I knew exactly what I wanted to read, but I'm in a weird position because it's the middle of the year. I feel like there's loads of books I didn't read by this point that I thought I would, which I'm going to do a video about, which you'll be able to see on Thursday, where I talk about the books that I thought I would have read by now. So I've got some of them that I want to read, but also I've got all the books for the rest of the year that I want to read. So instead I've chosen something that's neither of those.
No, but you do want to read this because these are your...
Oh, no, I do really want to read
so
this.
this is... I'm pleased you're reading this.
Yeah.
I also have just got this out for the library. I'm feeling a bit gutted, like I wish I brought it on holiday with me. But I've got enough to be reading on holiday.
Well, I think this book is possibly a bit more of an autumny book, but because one of the projects that I want to do, if you missed it, is that me and my mum's joining as well, are going to be reading all the books that have won the Women's Prize that we haven't read yet in chronological order. And I should have read this and another one in June, but I'm not beating myself up about that because I'm totally overbeating myself about what I do and don't read. But the reason that I instantly want to read this one, and this was the first winner of the Women's Prize, was because it's about kids who are left by their parents to go and live in their grandparents' big old mansion. There's loads of family secrets going on. They don't want to know about them, but also there might be something in the house.
Yeah.
And it just instantly, I was like, oh, hello.
And I read the first paragraph and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be really, really good. So this is going to be the one I want to head to next. But I do get into that point where I'm a bit like, oh my God, there's all these books that I've not read so far this year that I thought I would have, that I was so excited about. And then also I'm now like, oh, it's the second half year, so I can read books for September, October, November. Yeah. But we were talking about, I'm not ready to read 2020 books yet.
No, we said this yesterday. I got my first 2020 book in the post this week.
Yeah.
And I think I'll leave it. Just in terms of, just quickly about the Women's Prize project you've got. Were you surprised at how many you hadn't read?
I was surprised how many I had read.
Oh, I was surprised how many I hadn't read.
I was really shocked.
I automatically always opt for female writers. And I couldn't believe it, going back that I'd hardly read any, like basically I haven't read anything until about 99, I think.
I think I've got about 11 too, but I don't think I've always read them because I've bought a lot of books because they've been Orange Prize winners or Women's Prize winners or Bailey's Prize winners, all the winners. But I was, the other thing that made me laugh was I've had quite a few comments people going, you should read the shortlist as well. How much time do you think I've got?
Quit your job.
Next quit your job and just read these.
Read all of those.
Oh, okay. If anyone wants to fund me doing that, more than happy to. But other than that, I do need to go to work. But I'm really excited. And also because Helen Dunmore, I feel like is an author I would really, really like.
I've read nothing.
I've only read her poetry, which I didn't love, sadly. Of course,
okay.
But yeah, and that's not true. I read a ghost story that she did for Hammer Horror. But I'm really, really looking forward to getting to this. And I do think it is these blinking shelves. I've got so many books on back catalogue books, but also there are so many authors that I love that I haven't read all of their previous books. Yeah. So I want to get to older fiction because I looked.
Don't stress yourself out over it.
No, but
you just said to me, "Oh, I think I might read that what's it called again? A Spell in Winter."
Yeah.
I just said winter. Tell me about winter. And then you picked it up, and now you feel excited about it.
I am excited about it, but I do think there's that thing where I noticed because of Sophie's lovely spreadsheet. Yeah. So from Pulling the Pages, I'll link her down below. The one thing it does point out is what you're not doing, and that has freaked me. Like I realised I hadn't read a book pre-1990. Like at all this year.
Oh right, okay.
Shocking.
Read Jane Eyre, although don't because it takes ages. Oh, it's very good though.
I like Jane Eyre a lot.
It's keeping me up to date with what I'm reading with my translated fiction as well. When I realise I'm falling behind with that, but luckily I've just taken 2 translated fiction books off Simon's shelf, so it's worked out for me as well.
It's worked out beautifully. So on that positive, delightful note, thanks, Lauren.
Thanks for having me. It's lovely.
If you don't follow Lauren, which I'm sure you do, I'll link her channel down below, and you might see me trying to gag my way in on it.
My hair doesn't normally look this good in videos, so like this manager expectations.
Very good
it
today.
looks bloody lovely today, doesn't it?
It does. On
that
note,
that scene in Fleabag where she's at her mum's funeral and she's like, I just look so gorgeous. Why do I look so gorgeous?
That's Lauren. Anyway, on that note, we'll go. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.